Hello and welcome to Campaign Comrades, your favorite leftist gaming podcast, where one of your favorite hosts definitely doesn't have COVID and is definitely in denial and is going on full the vaccine actually made me get COVID.
100%.
No, not really. But dude, it was such unfortunate timing. Like there's like a new shot coming out at some point, and now
It
I've
got
got to
approved like last week.
Yeah, now I've got to wait for it because like you got to wait like a couple months
Yeah,
after
6-month period or whatever it is after you've had
a
COVID.
recent infection.
6 months now? Wow.
I thought it was 3, but I don't know. I'll
I
find
don't know. I
out.
thought it was 6 back in the day. Back in my day, you had to wait a whole goddamn 2 years for a vaccine.
I mean, I don't listen to any of that. I get a vaccine every 2 weeks. It's
Mhm.
the healthiest thing you can do for your body.
Yes.
I love rewriting my DNA on a weekly basis. But folks, yes, I have the COVID rebound right now. I tested negative, was fine for 5 days or so, and then it's like, oh wow, I feel like I have a really bad head cold or really bad allergies yesterday, and tested and immediately fucking positive. So in case that's why I sound like I'm speaking through a reed straw, that is why.
I think you
I
Otherwise
mean
I'm
thought it was
feeling.
paper
just sucking too
straw.
much dick.
No, I was thinking
Might
like
be a
that.
paper straw.
I've gone full on shinobi, and I'm like hiding in the castle pond just with breathing through a reed. But yeah, if in case that's why I sound so shitty, or if you hear me with a cough drop, that is why.
Blinking around on your teeth. A
Mhm.
Ricola.
And folks, today is our news roundup for the month of August. It was a actually pretty eventful month. Lots of quote unquote drama,
Yeah.
and there's some
Just a little. Only a few
some
things.
big releases. I would
Nope,
actually
no
cl- I
big
would I
releases.
would
It
actually
released in
qualify it
one
more
country
as
only. Remember that.
I would qualify it as more as like controversial releases, really. Like because uh one of our main topics today, is stirred up a whole bunch of shit, and then we've got a whole bunch of other games that are just like I want to quickly just talk about like Concord came out.
Yo,
Yes.
25,000 copies, bro.
R.I.P. Bozo to
Oh
Concord.
no.
The biggest going down as the biggest flop in Sony history. I forget what they were comparing it to, but it was some like really obscure game, and at
I mean,
least
they
to
kind
me,
of had
and
to know because the marketing for it was so
complete
non-existent until the
completely fell
very end.
off. No, it
Yeah.
completely fell off after the beta, after the stuff with the betas. They were just like, oh, okay, this is cooked. Like, let's just get
I
it out
do
there.
I do love
Yo,
that
I'm
they
saying I can't wait to buy that as e-waste from my local GameStop.
I didn't know they made a physical copy, to be
Me
honest,
neither.
of that game.
That did not strike me as a physical game. But speaking of buying it as e-waste for a penny from your local GameStop, our first story of the week, Mike, hit us. What's
Ga-
going on with ye old GameStop?
GameStop is you know, they're rebranding a bit. And
Not really.
well
They're doing the McDonald's and whatever the boutique McDonald's is called.
sure, but it's still
McCafe.
yeah, but
No, not
it's
even that. It's the actual restaurants that are like white and purple.
I
Oh,
don't know, but
I don't
I
know.
mean, regardless, it is technically a rebranding. It's retro GameStop stores. I don't know if any of our listeners know, but a while back, GameStop stopped selling a lot of their older consoles and games. I tried buying some
Cosmix.
Cosmics.
MCs.
Could you
Oh,
No.
yes, 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 yes.
could you still sell them though? That was the thing. Are they still buying that shit?
Sometimes they wouldn't. It honestly depended on the GameStop. It depended on the smelly, sweaty manager at the store.
Yeah, I used to make a killing selling games after I beat them
No, but
back in
I'm
like.
talking recently. Very recently,
Well,
they
that's why
stopped
I
being
haven't gone in a long time
I've gone
because
like
like
somewhat
a
recently.
4 years.
I tried to sell some games in like the ones that actually I was like surprised that actually like they gave me like 10 to 15 bucks on a couple of them, but then
Wow.
they wanted to only give me $1 for Deathloop, so I'm like,
but
I probably won't ever play this game, but like
for $1,
I'm not gonna give it to you for $1. Like get the fuck out of
Yeah.
here. But
But
the other ones they gave me like a
Yo,
decent amount.
the top most surprising thing I've ever received from a GameStop was I got $40 for the Xbox version of Final Fantasy 15. And the reason the guy told me, he's like, there are so few copies of this game sold that having an Xbox copy is actually kind of rare.
So
that's
one thing,
hilarious.
so these retro stores are already opened up. I would like to point out that they are selling a backwards compatible PS3 for $80. There's not one at
Jeez.
the location near me, sadly. That was the first thing I looked for, but it's pretty damn good
I
price.
don't trust GameStop's quality on their refurbishing.
What's the? Is this like? Are they
It's
just
pre-owned, not
reskinning
refurbished.
stores?
Oh,
Yeah.
even worse. I
Like,
don't trust
are
regular people to take care of their shit.
Yeah, it looks like they're just they're
Yeah, they're
because
taking. So
because
what
they
happens?
can't sell like physical copies. There's no physical copies to sell much anymore.
Yeah.
So they're
Instead of
losing out
closing a
to
bunch of
business with
stores
like and
and
they're losing
storefronts,
business to other.
they're taking those storefronts that were failing and turning them to retro.
Yeah,
They're basically just
that's what I
converting
thought.
existing storefronts so that they don't have to close them down.
And the reason they're doing that is because there's been a huge surge in like retro gaming and because
Yeah,
of like
because
our
when I put a
generation
cartridge
and
in from
stuff.
1993 and it still works, there's no like internet DRM or download this patch or
Well,
So I mean, it's
and just the general public starting to see the writing on the walls of like, oh, if we don't have physical copies of things, we're going to not have them at some.
Yeah, so I mean, it's an easy business decision. Like they're losing money to these other like boutique retro gaming stores, that are
they
opening
at
up.
least don't insult you when you try to purchase and or sell something to them. They give
Yeah,
you like
it's
my
just
local
easy
game
to
store dude was very like transparent. He's like, I look at eBay for like the average selling price for something around this quality and try to match around that price.
Yeah, I was saying before we started recording, like, how are we gonna talk about GameStop? And I was like, oh yeah, this could go in. If I didn't have COVID, I would have gone and got some retro games today. And I was like,
I would have spent some money.
yeah, I was honestly, I've seen some screenshots of some of the GameStop price points, and like, yeah, they're actually pretty fair.
Yeah,
And I was surprised, like
same.
that's not GameStop's, MO. It's
Well,
like
and
to
that's why I highlighted the backwards compatible being only $80.
$80. Yeah, that's pretty
Like
damn good.
say what you want about the quality of it, being pre-owned or whatever from GameStop for $80. If they have it at your fucking local retro GameStop, a fucking backwards compatible for $80 and it works to some degree, fucking buy it. You know what I mean?
I got
Like,
sniped. I got sniped on a white PS2 Slim at Harry at H&L's.
yeah, but so like
I was so sad.
I still would like to support the boutique smaller stores. I sent Andrew the other
mom and
day,
pops.
the mom and pops. I sent Andrew the other day. I've been holding off on doing this because there's a huge used game store uh around the corner from my office, and I knew that it would be bad if I went in there when I started the job, so I held off a good 6 to 8 months, and I finally went in the other day. They have every fucking game imaginable. Just like they have so much stock that it's just like piled up everywhere. So like there's the retro games are in circulation. There's tons of them out there that people are willing to buy and sell. So like you know, like as we've been saying, it's an easy business decision for GameStop. Fuck them though in their model. Stick to your mom and pops.
Had they largely gotten rid of their used games
Yes.
in
They,
general?
because they for a while they were not taking older used games.
Oh yeah, the only
Well,
type
there-
of
there
used
came
gaming
a-
you
there
could
came a
possibly get
certain
was
current
gen.
generation or
Yeah.
like the
Just
one
current
just
gen, okay.
previous.
No,
Like or
there
just
came a
previously.
certain
They were taking
point.
some PS4 games and stuff, but they, as we said, the writing's on the wall that physical games aren't around. So, or if there's no new physical games for them to be buying and selling, they gotta move to older stuff again because that's the only one. The only consoles with physical games still left in circulation. And as Matt was saying, they got these brick and mortars that they probably have fucking 10, 20-year leases
Right.
on some
They
of these
exactly.
things.
There's
So
The
like
the
it's either
local
they break
GameStop to
them,
me,
and they have tons of liability for, especially in New York City, you got tons of liability for the rent all the way through your
corporate
20
real
years.
estate is like the complete kind of undergirding of the entire economy.
Yeah.
yes. Yeah.
So like, of course it, you know, they don't want to have that rental liability for fucking 20 years after they vacate the place
Yeah, with
because they
no
can't
cash
sell
flow.
shit. Yeah. So it's like, okay, this is easy. Let's just fucking go buy a warehouse of used games, start accepting older retro games as trade-ins or buying them whatever, and let's get cash flow to our brick and mortars again.
there was something I'd read a while ago that they had changed their pricing model on buying games back, and that was to discourage you from selling them because they were losing money on the interaction. Because the idea was like, oh yeah, obviously we buy it to you for cheaper, we sell it for more, we make more money. But the problem is you have to sell the game again, and
Yeah.
that's
Exactly.
for a lot of
Right,
stores that's something
right.
that just doesn't happen.
Well,
Right.
and then with
Well,
a
yeah,
lot
like-
of like the current gen games, half the time you can end up getting a new copy of the game for less than what GameStop is selling for if you're waiting for a sale.
It is a weird
Or
weird
I'd be
kind
willing
of-
to spend slightly more for a new copy of an old game
Yeah.
versus pre-owned copy from GameStop, which might show up with like
but it's
Timmy's
there's-
fucking
there's
boogers.
there's
on
a
the,
kind of strange kind of dichotomy at play, right? Where I'm kind of going off of memory in terms of, market growth and where it's kind of been at. Whereas, the overall gaming market still is on a growth pattern, much slower than it was, during the pandemic. Obviously, that's we talked about that at length. And coupled with that is obviously the, evaporation of current gen physical media. That's a trend as well, going in that direction. The constant kind of still solid growth in the industry is in this kind of slightly, I won't call them older generation, like they're not like old heads type of thing, but like our age and slightly older. We're all in our early 30s. Of that era that still has some attachment to old, the quote unquote retro games, right? So there is a marketability to them, and there has been a
Exactly.
resurgence in
And that's what I was
interest
saying, like-
in physical media of an older generation, yet those same people will still only buy new games digitally. It's weird. It is a
Oh, I see
weird
what you're
trend to
saying.
me,
Yeah.
where it's like those same people who are still like some of the
Well-
bigger spenders across whatever generation you want to call will go exclusively digital with their
It's-
modern stuff, and it's
there
probably
are
just
good
sort of
arguments and bad arguments.
Probably
There's the
it's just
like
an
if you don't have
accessibility thing.
space, you just
Well,
don't
yeah,
have
I
the
think it's-
storage for it.
I think
Then
it's
there's
an
the arguments where it's like,
accessibility.
I don't want to change discs. And it's
I-
like when people say that, it's like, okay, that's
there is-
a,
I don't
but
even
there
think
is an
it's
ex-
that so
no, there
much.
is an accessibility part of it. It's the fact that if they could get these retro games, like if there were, and they exist on the different subscription services, but like if more
I
of those
prefer to get
older
all of my
games
retro
were
games via
available
mini consoles
digital,
resold to me at high prices.
yeah, I'm sure those same people would probably do that instead versus
Well-
going to buy the physical media. But it's the fact that that's all that for
So-
them, a lot of games, that's all that exists is that
This is
physical
wh-
media,
this is
which
what
is why
I
it's a
think.
good sign for, say why physical media is a good thing. That's why preservation is a good thing, because It's the one way to maintain access to these things.
This is what I think is largely going on. I don't think a lot of people our age that are dipping into both retro and new games have the analysis that we do on licensing, or like the understanding, nor do they necessarily care. I think that there's a good chunk of people that would fall into that category. So I think it is just easier, whether it's accessibility, whether it's space, whether it's just sometimes it's cheaper to get the digital copy. You know, people are going digital for new because it is just in general easier. Whereas the retro gaming, a lot of that is just based on the nostalgia of our generation now, you know, becoming adults and having money to fucking spend on things. You know, our parents were buying fucking Pez and Beanie Babies and shit like that. We're buying retro games.
Cabbage
And-
Patch Dolls.
Yeah, and
But they literally bought they literally bought Beanie Babies because they thought they were gonna
100%.
be like
I have no
NFT type
stocks.
shit. It was
I
the
have
same-
no stocks
the
because
same-
my
NFT.
parents bought
You-
Beanie
yeah,
Babies.
you
the
guys
same
have-
people. It was the same people.
You guys have
the same
peeked
people
deep
who
inside
were
the mind of
slurping
my
their
mother
apes
and why she has no retirement fund.
Yeah, people who were like that generation of ape slurpers were Beanie Baby heads.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And well, and I think there is a slight difference there because the Beanie Baby buyers were more like middle class and poor people that were trying to cash in on it, where the ape slurpers are, you know, are wealthier in the first instance.
No,
but-
there was definitely some middle class and poor people who were trying to be ape slurpers as well.
For sure. I'm not, you know, that doesn't mean to say that those people didn't exist. I'm just saying the large majority of them, you know, there's a big difference there. But so I think like nostalgia is driving it, because I've talked to people that aren't even like, that don't play video games on new generations, that aren't like video game people, that are like, oh yeah, I bought an NES to play my favorite Mario game from my childhood. They only have fucking one game on it, and you know, they only play it.
A lot of those people that I
Occasionally.
know got pulled into the mini consoles. Like the one that I work with has the mini NES and the mini SNES that have the
Yeah, but again,
like
you're
30 or 40
working-
games on
You're
them.
working with engineers and shit. You're working with nerds. I'm not talking about those type of people. That's a different subset. I'm talking about normies that are out and about in the world that, you know, just like they played it as a child. They have some childhood attachment. They either saw it at a fucking yard sale or happened to go with another friend into you know, a mom and pop store and buy it. And then, you know, just during COVID, the ramp up of that, people emulating these games.
And we are also the first generation to have video games be mainstream our
Yes.
entire lives.
Yeah.
Well,
Like they weren't a
good and
niche
mainstream.
hobby. Right, exactly. Like
Because we were basically Super Nintendo onward.
right.
So we basically had the best generation of gaming forward as our entire life.
Right. You didn't have to be a
compared to, like-
hobbyist to game
Yeah,
by the time,
yeah.
like, pretty much prior to that.
It's like you
had
could
to be.
argue that people who grew up in the 70s grew up through like the true era of gaming when they had like the Magnavox and the Atari and the
No,
Yeah.
but that wasn't
Yeah.
mainstream, like Andrew's saying. And
Yeah,
I
that's
think
when
they
that-
you
were
like,
also
you're a
super fucking
hobbyist.
expensive.
exactly. So
Yeah.
that can't
Right.
be mainstream because they were
Right.
so-
You're a
I was looking
hobbyist.
back at some of those because Ben got me a book, like a coffee table book on the history of gaming. And some of
Mhm.
those things were selling for like $800
Yeah,
70s money.
Yeah.
exactly.
It's like this was a fucking car.
No, so I think
Uh-huh.
Andrew's analysis is, you know, on point, that it is our generation having come up in, you know, video games being mainstream, you know, like you said, Matt, best consoles going forward. And it's now we have some disposable income. We can't buy fucking houses and shit with it, so there's no reason to fucking save. So you might as well go spend $80.
You've got enough money to be a consumer,
Yes.
but not enough, to like actually,
So what is
Invest.
spending 80, you know, $100 to buy an old console and your one favorite game?
Yeah,
to
what's
fucking
spending
play it?
$200 on a 3DS XL? What?
Yo, and there's people that do it. Andrew's seen it at fucking
I was talking
at-
introspectively about myself. I
It's
spent
true.
$200 on a 3DS XL like
The-
2
the la-
weekends
yeah,
ago.
the last
To
time
play-
that he and I
to
were
play
at the retro
Nintendogs.
game store. Yeah.
Yeah.
To play Nintendogs. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
actually
exclusively
have
to
a
play
copy of Nintendogs from my
Nintendogs,
sister.
the Pup Edition.
But I mean, Andrew's seen it. Even like, so the Zoomers are even coming around to like they love 90s and like Y2K shit. They're fucking obsessed with it. And like at hip hop shows that I've gone to in Brooklyn, people are filming shit on their 3DS.
Yeah, we did see that.
I've seen so many multiple different people.
Yeah, there were like a
3DS
The
whole-
XL,
uncontrollable
3DS.
urge to bully.
yeah, dude.
And they like post it on Instagram and shit with the grainy footage, and it's like an aesthetic for them.
Catch me next to them with the Game Boy camera.
Yeah. Honestly, I would kind of want to buy that just to one up them. Just be like, you think that you're so hipster and cool.
Yeah, but you would have to also have the Game Boy printer with you so that you could live print out
And like 18
your shots that
batteries.
would legitimately just be black.
That shit was portable, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
The
you just plugged
old
it in.
printer.
It
Hey,
it
a
ran
car
off.
phone was portable at one
Yeah.
point.
Dude, it
That shit
reminds me.
was like
It
a
reminds
fucking
me of the
suitcase.
of Cookie from Ned's Declassified with the printer pants. Okay, we talked earlier before recording about how are we doing transitions and shit, and the brain fog has set in a little bit for me. I don't quite remember what we decided on.
I think
And,
Bungie was going to be the first. We were
yeah,
going to use
okay.
that as connective tissue to.
All right, so that leads me to my.
That's a great
my-
transition, by
yeah,
the way.
Yeah.
We just
my
did
main,
it.
my
Force
main
that.
story is what the fuck is going on at Bungie, dude? Like they are fucking imploding.
Yo,
like-
they took $3 billion from Sony, lit it on fire, and we're like, we're just gonna
Dude, they're
leave now.
like they're gonna be done. Like
Oh, yeah.
they're totally cooked. Because I guess here's another one. We talked about Concord at the start, right? All that exists now at Bungie are the people maintaining Destiny, the current Destiny, because that's part of this. The future of Destiny is in question because we know now that what was officially canceled is not Destiny 3. It was like a spin-off thing, and we can talk about that. But there's like the teams left are people maintaining Destiny and those working on Marathon. And every insider that we hear is Marathon is a fucking shit show.
Dude, Tom Warren saying that, I was like, oh no, it's over. Tom Warren is like the nicest insider and would never say anything mean about a game.
He is more Xbox adjacent from what I know. People do put him more on he can sometimes dip a little bit into Xbox console warrior status, but
I rarely see him be like outwardly negative.
But no,
on,
the
like,
actual
social media about a
objective
game.
ones, like Grubb and Jason Schreier, and I think I've even seen Gene Park, who is like incredibly nice and but also isn't afraid to get critical.
This game is cooked.
It's
quote
been
unquote.
maybe I'm not remembering. Maybe I don't want to misquote him. I have this feeling that he said something, but I know Grubb and Jason Schreier have said stuff that like Marathon is cooked. Like everybody who has any experience or any ties to it at all, who have spoken under anonymity, have just been like, this shit is not coming together. I mean, it was a big reason why there was the big round of layoffs in 2023 when 900 people were fired, because Marathon was not coalescing. They weren't hitting financial goals.
It's kind of crazy to think about the fact that Sony brought them in and then like walked them around other studios to tell them how to like make their live service games.
And honestly, like I'm glad that the Last of Us one, the Naughty Dog one is done, because they took the best stance from that. It's like, yeah, if we were to like try to like make this viable and work, we would just become a live service studio and not be able to focus on the things we were actually good at. And so like, yeah, we're not going to do
I
that.
mean, when games are infinite, you have to work on them infinite, and that's not fun.
but yeah, like but then yeah, Bungie said that that wasn't going to work, but then said that Concord would,
Mhm.
you know, and what the fuck does that say? Yeah, so another 220 people were laid off at early in the month. This was actually, I think, August 1st. This article I'm seeing here. This is like right at the beginning of the month. But like 220 people were let go. Another 150-ish have been absorbed directly into Sony, and then another
With the rest of them coming.
and then like another 40 or so were like spun off into like to starting a new small studio to work on another one of these incubation projects that they had gotten started. Like, and that's like the biggest thing is that what's his name, Pete Parsons, right, the CEO of Bungie, is like beyond like spending multiple millions of dollars on classic cars and then bragging about them to employees days before laying them off.
Yep.
Amazing. That's incredible.
Beyond that, he's like, yeah, this dude is like overseeing incredible amounts of overspending, poor management, spinning up way too many projects, not having a cohesive vision for things like Marathon, which we've seen, yeah, it's an extraction shooter, but also it's a bit of a hero shooter too. And again, the whole Concord of it all, like, that's not good. None of that's good.
I just
That's
like the idea that in like 2022, someone was sitting down and was like, you know, it was really popular like 8 years ago.
no. Here's the thing.
Hero
No,
shooters. We
here's the
should go
fucking
back
thing.
to that.
This is not about Concord is a Firewalk Firewalk studio, not Bungie. But like, that was another little nugget here that as you mentioned that fucking Concord has been in development for 8 years. What came out in 2016 but fucking Overwatch? That they've been working on this and trying to chase that trend all this time, and it's taken them that long to put this out. Whereas, like, that's why trend chasing is bad, particularly with the current
The
state
life
of
cycle.
AAA game development. Right, this
It's
shit
pretty much
takes
bad in every
yeah,
industry.
but it takes
when
so
you're
fucking
chasing, you're
long.
coming from behind.
It takes so fucking long that by that time, even if you're writing in that kind of vein, it's like none of the jokes are gonna fucking land because
They're
the
8 years
you're
old.
trying to do pop culture references and shit like that, Guardians of the Galaxy style. Those jokes don't fucking land because it's so fucking old. We've moved on as a society, and it's
They're like,
just
isn't it funny that we have Vine guys? It's like, oh,
oh, quickly, X that out and overdub that with TikTok instead.
Yeah.
Uh, but it's yeah, Bungie is absolutely cooked because Marathon is going to fucking crater them, and
and they were
they're
run by a sex pest, apparently.
not the company, but Marathon was. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the latest one. So the former head, the lead designer of Marathon, one Chris Barrett, who was removed and left from the project about a year ago or something, and kind of quietly shuffled away.
Catholic
Like
Church style.
a bunch of people were like, like, what's going on here? Like, what's the story behind that? And just kind of silence completely until recently, where this was just a couple days ago. I think it was Jason Schreier at Bloomberg who broke this story that he was let go following an investigation into allegations of inappropriate behavior from, quote, at least 8 female employees.
That's all the female employees there.
Yeah, I was about to say. Also, you never want a statement like this to have an at least as a quantifier.
Yeah. So he apparently called lower level female employees attractive, asked them to play truth or dare. And
That one is so good
That's
to me.
amazing. That's my
Asking them to play truth or dare as an adult man is so. Oh,
Yeah,
come
dude.
on.
Like, guys with so much, like, wealth and power as he, like, liked to imply to them, to coerce them, just like
Mhm.
have zero fucking charisma. They are
No Riz,
Rizless.
El
They
He
Riz.
are
does. He does somehow have a like somewhat attractive Twitch streaming wife too.
probably not anymore.
Yeah, I mean for sure. I hope. I
I'm
hope.
I'm I'm unfamiliar with this guy and his game, both in terms of how he treats women and Marathon. That's not a game that I would be playing. But he claims that I feel that I have always conducted myself with integrity and been respectful and
Come on,
supportive
bro.
of my colleagues. Uh, I never understood my
You
communications to
know,
be
I would have
unwanted, and I would never thought that they could possibly have made anyone feel uncomfortable.
I would have submitted footage of me asking other male employees to play Truth or Dare.
Yeah.
I did
That's
it to
the
everyone.
I
answer.
do this to everybody.
It's just I'm just autistic. It's how I communicate.
Dude,
It's
that
not
is
sexual. I'm just doing it. Just ask you if you can hide the pickle.
I'm just a
that
neurodivergent uwu for me. Small bean.
that's such a hilarious non-apology. Like essentially, well, not
It-
non-apology.
it's
It's a hilarious
slightly- it's
admission of
slightly
guilt.
above- It's slightly above. I'm sorry, you're offended.
No, it is
Yeah.
very much in that way. He says, if anyone ever felt that way about their interaction with me, I'm truly sorry. Not just like it's more
Yeah.
like, if that's how you feel, I'm sorry for you. Not,
Yeah.
not of what I did.
Oh my god. Truth or dare. Truth or dare.
That's a crazy one to me. And like I've
Imagine your
worked for
boss.
some insane people who've done some insane things in front of me, and like no, I would never expect them to be like, "Hey, let's play Truth or Dare real
Yeah,
quick."
you're just in a private one-on-one meeting, and they're like, "Actually, I got a quick question for you. You wanna get a game of Truth or Dare in later?"
Doing a fucking midterm review.
It's a truth or dare. What would you do for a raise?
Yeah.
What are
That's
you
not a
willing to-
truth or a dare.
Yeah.
No, I mean that's a truth.
Yeah, there's a bit of a truth. Yeah.
True.
Tell me.
It's a truth
It's-
and a
and a
dare.
dare,
It is.
yeah.
It is both at the same time.
The dare is implied. The dare
Yeah,
is
yeah.
only implied.
Are these women in danger?
Jesus.
Yeah, dude. And Sony is like having enough of their shit. And like again,
It's kind of funny to watch.
we are not in favor of consolidation. The purchase by Sony was not a good thing for the
No,
industry.
it was purely retaliatory too. It was
but
Oh, they're regretting it.
there's also bits that wasn't included in any of these articles here, that there is speculation that Bungie inflated its value. Oh, that was people theorizing about or about Pete Parsons, is like that why he went on these fucking things, and he went on these hiring sprees, creating all these incubation projects to
inflate the bubble.
artificially inflate the value, to be like, yeah, like look at all the people we're employing, all the cool projects we have,
All the
you
future
guys-
revenue streams.
Yep.
yeah,
We got a
so-
single player Destiny in the works. We're doing Destiny 3, obviously. Look at this Destiny expansion. Look at this marathon we're working on. I mean, that's 4 possible big projects to show off, and then to be like, how about no? How about none of those?
And so people have said though that like the other side of the story of, or the alternate history, if Sony doesn't buy Bungie, it would have been insolvency. Is that
Mhm.
that Bungie would have, and so that's again the clearest indication to me is that they're cooked, they're done. It is an empty shell. It's a pop-up stand.
Yes.
It's complete smoke and mirrors. That when Marathon bombs, that they're just going to be completely absorbed. Executives,
Yeah.
the board gone. And Sony is had enough. Hiroki Totoki has been like, yeah, I want them to be held accountable. Their business
well,
decisions
It's
fucking
funny like
suck.
the scale difference in the spending on like what they spent on Bungie and how quickly they're like, all right, now we're done with your shit. Like,
And so here's the reality, right? And why I still think it's like ends up not being, even for the slight glimmer of positivity that you could shine on, and is like, yeah, Bungie shutting down is bad for the Bungie employees. I don't care about their board. I don't care about their whatever. I don't care about them, but like Bungie shutting down would have been bad for all of those workers. But they're already like they've already shed at this rate like close to 30 or more percent of their
I was gonna say, I think it's close to half at this point
this
of their
recent bit
initial.
was 17%. I don't know what the ratio was. I mean, because the layoffs last year were even bigger, right?
They
Like I
were,
said,
and
it
there were
was like
layoffs even
900.
before those. Those weren't even the first. This is the third layoffs.
Yeah, this
they've
is like the third or fourth wave of layoffs at Bungie.
So
because initially, in the other thing about it though is it was dead on arrival. As soon as they reported with Bungie's financials, it was obvious that Bungie was barely making money and like Destiny wasn't a profitable thing. The money they spent on Bungie was essentially a bet on what was coming after it, and none of that's panned out. So yeah, like of course
what
they're gonna just
what was it
absorb
that
that shit.
in like 2023, what was the number that that they were missing their financial uh targets by? Something like 45%.
Yeah, yeah. It was like half of what they're supposed to. Essentially, I don't remember exactly, but
I think
it's
it was in
not
the
been.
40s, but it's
I mean, that's still a pretty large number.
Yeah, that's not a. They've not. It was not a good investment. Per se.
No, it was purely a retaliatory move due to what Microsoft was doing at the time.
Yep.
It was
And
purely, oh, you're buying things, fine, we'll buy Bungie.
Yeah.
it's that, and it is once again a miscalculation by the industry as to
Infinite
how
growth.
no how well they can get a live service type game to catch on. They still overestimate the success rate on that business model by numerous factors. And at that point in time when they bought Bungie, even more so.
they are still willing to take the risk, right? Because I think it's becoming clearer to this makes it more insidious, right? Is that it's becoming clearer to them with each failure that yes, the risks are very high. And we're going to potentially waste a lot of money. Um, they don't care about that because that risk is acceptable because they're like, yes, the chances are very low. But we put enough
Yeah.
time and resources into it, we'll get the one that more than makes up for all of that loss. They don't care about the human carnage that's left in its wake, right? They're like, all those people
Right.
are, it's
They're
blood for the
disposable.
blood god,
They
skulls
get a
for the skull
severance
throne.
package, it's fine.
It's literally like, yeah, they are the the sacrificial meat on the altar for their bottom line, and it's
Yep.
the one time where these executives are actually looking for the long term. They're like, yes, we will run long-term losses for that eventual victory that will net
At
us
the expense of
billions of
employees.
dollars. We'll lose millions because we'll make billions.
Yep.
That's not new, but so like they don't care. They will shut Bungie down because
Absolutely.
they will be like, yeah, okay, you're another one that's goes onto the garbage heap. And that's not good.
We will parse through your employees, take the ones that we deem are valuable, and then
Move them
Get
into
rid
our
of
own
redundancies.
move them into our own operation and leave you to toil in either obscurity or under the constant fear of you literally have the sword
The
of
chopping
Damocles,
block.
high hanging over your head that like you could be.
I was gonna say, just imagine being the Bungie employee who survived like these 3 rounds of layoffs and like looking at all of the empty desks around you.
Yeah, dude, morale is supposedly like absolutely
All-time low.
greater. And that means that they're going to be putting out some high quality content.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they
Yeah.
are. The executives are going to be, covering
that's
their
the funny
asses
part,
with
wasn't-
amazing tweets and articles that they're paying for. Like, they're going to be giving us good content in that sense.
Wasn't the most recent Destiny expansion like supposed to be pretty good?
Final Shape got like rave reviews,
So
but it didn't. I don't think it sold like spectacularly. But
it did okay.
It did okay, but yeah.
It did it like met, I think, their roughly their expectations sales wise. Was initially critically loved, but then they fucked it up with like how they rolled out the last half of it, and it was hated for like, I think it's actually still kind of hated. The player count has been precipitously dropping. If
I only
I'm
I
remembering
only put it,
headlines I've seen.
Precipitously. Look at the
yeah.
SAT word here.
I only remember I was only paying attention to the original launch and saw, you know, good reviews. Interesting.
No, they managed to burn
They
all of
managed to
that goodwill in
fuck
like
it up.
3 weeks. It
All
was
right,
pretty amazing.
Matt, you were talking about how, yeah, this whole thing with Sony and Bungie was all retaliatory from Microsoft, and you know, this whole shit show going on underneath Sony's banner. What's going on across the aisle here?
So
Everything's fine. Nope. We said something earlier this year and we were like, hey guys, only like a couple like really small niche games, and like that's all we're releasing on PlayStation because those games need to live. But like, we did kind of get rid of the studio that made one of those games, and like that's fine. Don't worry about them. But like then we came back again and like, hey, maybe we'll release some other games, but like we don't know that yet. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. We're gonna like waffle, and then we're just gonna one more thing you at Gamescom with a
I
PS5 logo and launch
dude,
fucking window
fucking
for our
Microsoft
biggest upcoming game.
is the abusive boyfriend, you know. It's like literally doing the gaslighting of like, they love to say things that are so ambiguous that like
What's
can be
the
read either way, like that, like,
and
yeah, they're still like,
dude,
yeah,
what's the
Indiana
chain of
Jones
things?
is
It's like I didn't say that, and if I did, you deserved it. And like then it's like I like the whole like list of that. It's
the
something like a
true
whole chain of that.
how they announced it coming to PS5, like that Vince McMahon storyline heel level way of doing it, in my opinion. Like
doing it
fucking
as an
hilarious.
exciting one more thing, you know, one
Yeah.
final thing. Like, this is really gonna get the people going, type of thing. Which
Yo,
they do.
the
Hold
one
on,
final
hold on.
thing should have been a Shia LaBeouf reveal.
You know, like Jeff Keighley doing the calculus, right? It's like, yeah, more people own PlayStation, so more people are going to be excited than are going to be pissed off. So net positive. Fuck them, you know, like, kind of.
Till he finds a nerd in his bedroom one night.
David DePepe comes in with the
Dude.
fucking hammer.
Xbox console fans are just like it's literally the skeleton at the bottom of the pool in the drowning kid meme. Like they're like, oh, we get worse Game Pass now with no day one releases, and all our good games are going to PlayStation, but none of their games are coming to us. But some of them are going to Switch. Apparently, that's cool.
Yeah, dude, like the Lego Horizon going
Yeah.
PlayStation and Switch. Yeah, which
You know,
makes
Lego
sense.
Horizon come out is going to launch and it's going to be like child game of the year, and Xbox fans are just going to be the Homelander sitting in the movie theater.
Oh my god.
Are
No,
is anybody here gonna buy Imbiamba Jombas with on the on the PS5?
No.
I mean,
Dude,
if it's reviewed well, and yeah, probably, but I'm not super interested as it currently looks.
yes, that's my like. I so want this.
Kinda
I
just doesn't
want
look
to.
fun.
I want to play this game, but like the first
Oh.
person, I
Oh,
don't
yeah,
like
I
it.
forgot about that.
Yeah, we've talked about this before.
Yeah,
We're
that's a
not
no-no.
fans of that.
Yo,
But
there's
that's
going to
kind
be
of
a final
that's kind of
secret thing right
irrelevant
when
for
you
the
beat the
platform.
game where it's going to come back out, and instead of Indy, you're going to be Shia.
They bring him back from the dead.
Oh yeah, did they kill him in the most recent?
Yeah. Yeah.
Spoilers.
Did he
You
go to
got-
war? Did he go to
yeah.
war or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Was he in Korea?
Korea or
Desert Storm.
Vietnam. It's one of the two.
I mean, because they depends, yeah, on what time. I never watched the most recent one. What year is that supposed to take
either.
place in?
Like 1980s.
Oh, okay.
No.
Then it's
Yeah.
neither Vietnam or Korea.
No, he's been dead for a while. That's just literally how they tell us because they didn't want to get Shia back. So they're like,
because Shia's in the woods, like eating people or something. That's what the song says, at least.
But enough about the movie. It sucks. Don't waste your time. It was so bad. Yeah, this is. I just want it to be third person. I would buy it 100%.
Dude, it's just very funny to me. Like, I feel bad for like the really like loyal Xbox fans who've been like, Phil's gonna get us next year, guys. Don't worry. Like, Phil's gonna. The games are finally coming because like they've been waiting for this, and
For
like even if
years.
the game was going to be just okay, like similar to like the Starfield factor, at least like an okay game is better than nothing that they've had for years at points.
Did Avowed also catch its delay this month? Was that a news
Either
story
this
from
month or
this
earlier,
month?
last month.
I
But
don't remember.
that delay was like, but there's so many good games coming out. Then we don't want our game launching alongside those.
And it was originally like November, right? And it's like there's like
Yeah.
only like one game coming out in November.
Yeah.
So while Microsoft is becoming, the third party publisher without saying so. Although that's the fucking thing, right? And I've seen some interesting like columns about it, how it's like Microsoft just needs to fucking figure its shit out, right?
Mhm.
They need to pick
You
a
need to have a
lane and
consistent like voice and just come out and be honest about shit for once in their fucking life.
because like they have some, like, I don't have the list in front of me, but it's like they still have quote unquote true exclusives. They have timed exclusives.
Day
Which
one
big,
Game
yeah,
Pass,
which
non-day
one,
one Game
but
Pass.
which is
They have like Doom, which is
oh yeah,
coming out
Doom.
day
They say
one.
Doom is going to be day one multi-platform, and it's just like there's and like but
That
as
was
far as
apparently a catalyst
they're
for a
like,
bunch of studios because Bethesda basically was like, no, we're releasing our games. Like that's
is the
coming
new,
out.
whenever it happens, is the new Elder Scrolls game gonna be multi-platform day
No, it's going to
one?
be Game Pass exclusive.
Right, because like their whole thing was like, oh, games with like a long history of multi-platform like Doom we're gonna continue that tradition. But like Elder Scrolls, was always been multi-platform and
Yep.
sold millions and millions of fucking copies 10 times at 10 different times on all different consoles. Are they gonna do that?
Well,
'Cause
mostly just Skyrim resold to you 7 times.
as far as we know, there's no indication of. I mean, that game doesn't exist at this point.
Yeah, dude, they
Uh,
gave us a title screen like 4 years ago.
but like the last time it was spoken about, I'm pretty sure it was said, no, this is going to be an Xbox exclusive.
Oh, that won't
Yeah,
be true no
they
more.
had no, they
But
did
that was
imply.
but that's so long ago, right? At
Yeah.
that point, even now. Um,
No, they did at one point imply that those games would be exclusives.
I mean, that's why you buy those studios, to sell your consoles, to keep people on your 30% market eat up storefront. When people are talking about like, oh well, Xbox will just make a PC and it'll have Steam on it, it's like you're literally saying just to kill the Xbox brand completely, because why would I buy something on the Xbox store when I could go to Steam and get it off Steam and have it be a part of a wider library?
so
Like once you lose the 30% storefront share of sales, you have no point in selling hardware.
But yeah, but say for Xbox, who has firmly lost the hardware battle, right?
Given the
They're
that
not
just
time.
means
selling hardware.
that just means they're losing. They're just, even though they would get that 30% bump, or like anything that they're selling on the PlayStation Store, they're going to lose 30% to PlayStation. 70% of something is better than 100% of fucking nothing.
Well, what I was saying was that like when you sell hardware, you sell it at a loss because you're going to get
yeah. No, that's
extra money on
the
top
whole
of
thing,
it.
right?
And if you're
But
just selling a computer, you have to sell it for a lot more money baseline.
But like look
because
at
computer people
Starfield,
aren't
right?
going to pay for Xbox Live. They're not going to pay for
Starfield
uh
wasn't by any means, a financial bomb, right? It did well enough. It sold enough copies, but like it definitely didn't sell as much as it could have. And that's as an individual new IP, right? Like whereas not selling an Elder Scrolls game everywhere is leaving so much money on the table.
Mhm.
Because again,
yeah,
at this
because again,
point,
people aren't going to go buy
they
an
have but they have
Xbox to do
dug
that.
their
They'll just buy a PC.
reputation. Yeah, say they have dug their reputation so far into the ground that they're gonna be like, yeah, Elder Scrolls is only on Xbox and PC. I'm not gonna buy a fucking Xbox for this one game at this point, like
Yeah, dude, I'm gonna buy an Xbox Series S. I'm gonna play Elder Scrolls 6 in 1080p, 30 frames per second.
Okay, let's that's a good enough transition. The whole Xbox Series S of it all. What's the other exclusivity chicanery that's going on recently with I guess technically the biggest game of the year right now sales wise?
Is it the biggest game of the year? Black Myth? It's like
Wait, no. Well, I don't know if it's just
It was
PlayStation.
number 4 single player game on
Yeah.
PlayStation 5.
Okay.
Um,
Well, it's like in terms of player count, it's fucking huge. But like, no.
yes, I think in total raw sales, I think Helldivers is definitely ahead of it.
I'm pretty sure college football just beat just outsold.
Yeah.
So I think that's actually the case. But in terms of single player games, it's the biggest so far. They already cleared 10 million. I think I saw that figure somewhere. But yeah, Black Myth Wukong. What's going on? The most controversial quote
The
unquote
most recent
TM.
news is what I like to dub journalists versus leakers.
This is like this whole thing is so funny.
Cross too, and when
yeah, like who's the leaker here? Who's the journalist? I don't even know anymore.
Well, I especially think it's funny because Paul Tassi, who like kicked off this like new storm as one of the first people to report on it on I think it was Wednesday when it started. Was it yesterday where he kind of like recanted his statements a little bit,
backtrack a little bit, but give us the context. Give us the context here.
Yeah. So yeah, Paul Tassi did report that apparently his
anonymous sources.
Yeah, the real reason for Black Myth Wukong not being on the Xbox yet is because of an exclusivity deal with Sony and not due to the Xbox Series S having performance issues with the game, as had been previously thought to be the reason.
And I'm pretty sure
which is a very logical and understanding reason.
I'm pretty sure that had been the position of the developer. Pretty sure that's where the drama comes in.
Yeah,
it's like
so
the developer line.
They don't need to be mutually exclusive reasons.
But then Xbox themselves is stirring the pot.
I think
right?
part of what happened was people got a little defensive because it came right after the tailwind of the Phantom Blade Zero developer, like offhand saying like, "Oh, like we don't care about developing for Xbox."
That was
or something like that.
That was a single guy. That was a single person,
like a singular dude who was speaking very truthfully in the fact that like Xbox's market share in China is like 0. Maybe there's like a couple expats who are like, I need my Xbox.
Which then like essentially now there's all this back and forth where everyone's being like, no, that's not the truth. It was the performance. No, it's not the performance. It's an exclusivity deal. No, Sony paid to port it, and that's why it's on Sony first. So it just turned into a quasi
Sony just
exclusivity
put
deal.
The game on their console.
Yeah.
Something
so it's all very strange. It's all very
strange.
That
Microsoft did last year with Larian to get Baldur's Gate running on Xbox and gave them the like exclusion for Series S.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Yeah, it's like that for a long period of time. The quote unquote albatross hanging around developers' neck was the was Microsoft's demand for feature parity across both versions. And for something like Baldur's Gate, they're like, we cannot get the split screen co-op to work on the Series S. It will not function.
Not enough RAM.
So we're we're going to skip you guys because that and it took them a while because Microsoft notoriously bet against them. They were like, "Oh yeah, we will if we wanted to." Remember that bit? They were like, "If we
Yeah.
wanted to try to get Baldur's Gate on Game Pass,
Yes.
we'd give them like $1 million." I'm being hyperbolic. I don't remember. It was an insultingly low
but
amount
it was
of money.
it was an insultingly low
No,
estimate on.
And didn't
Because
they,
they called it the Stadia game. They called it
Yeah.
the Stadia game.
Well, didn't they also say like something along the lines of maybe the talent at Larian's just not quite good enough to do it?
I don't remember that one, but that definitely
great.
tracks.
Okay, I feel like they kind
That was definitely Phil Spencer in like a dive bar at like 1:30 a.m.
Something along. It's like it's not our fault if they can't optimize a game properly. I feel like there was something like
But
that.
dude, that should absolutely be your concern though, as the platform holder. Like that's just bad for you. But yeah, it's like
consistently there are developers who say things like your console makes it difficult.
Yeah, shit was just too big. They're like, okay, fine, you get the special exemption. You don't have to.
You're going to be the game of the year, and we were about to just hand Sony a free exclusivity deal that they didn't have to pay for.
And so that's the weird thing about this one, right? Is that people are like, this whole thing with Black Myth Wukong does not make sense.
Yeah.
If there's some type of exclusivity deal, Sony would be screaming that from the rooftops. There was no marketing behind. If there is some type of deal there's none of it involved marketing, which Sony loves to market their third party exclusives.
I was gonna say, so
they
Sony
need to do that because
notoriously
they have no first party exclusives right now, so they need those
like
eyeballs
Sony, who
out there.
notoriously didn't market Rebirth or Final Fantasy 16 at all as only available on the PlayStation 5.
So with their favorite line, only possible with the power of the PlayStation 5.
Yeah,
that's their favorite line.
I just want to know the truth because I want to know who's planting false flag stories. Because someone is planting false flag stories because and I just don't know who it is yet.
His name is William Gates.
It's also
probably
I mean, there's so much going on with Black Myth Wukong. There's like I have not dived deep enough to form an actual educated opinion upon the quote unquote controversy behind the supposedly, depending on who you ask, misattributed quotes from game developers, from Game Science, the developers saying sexist shit in the past that has become this has become a rallying cry for the gamer gators out there that are still grifting on they're just
there was a very funny attachment that people had on the day of review embargo drop where there was one review, I think it was
Screen Rant that was a 60 out of 100 or a 6 out of 10, and it was like one of the negatives was like lacking inclusivity and diversity. That was that.
It's like there was so much attachment to that one singular.
I would say
there's like you guys got rage baited so hard by someone who was just farming your rage clicks.
There probably isn't a huge number of women in the game, but I know for a fact they do exist. They are there.
Yeah.
But like that review did say like there are no women, so it was a clear indication that they probably played for like an hour and wrote this. But yeah, it's fucking Screen Rant. Jesus Christ.
Like you guys got baited by the baitiest of websites.
Yeah.
And they are just farming your click engagement on their ad revenue.
Right. With the banner.
That guy got a bonus.
Yeah, they're like, "Oh, yeah, we've removed the author's name for their safety." I was like, "Come on, that was never there. They never put their name on that shit. That was,
They were never safe.
yeah, that was all completely, intentional." But, like people are,
There was
claiming that
no author. It was an AI.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's just written by AI.
Write me an article that will piss off everyone.
that's a good transition to our one of our last stories of the day about the about AI in gaming and how
Yeah.
apparently there's no acting involved. But the last thing I'll just say is, yeah, I don't have enough of a informed opinion on the accusations of misogyny at Game Science. Um, I have not, because I've avoided it because it just reeks of the Gamergate grifting stuff
Yeah.
going in it, as well as the trying to manufacture outrage, as well as some weird anti-China stuff going in as well
Mm.
that gets mixed into it.
The anti-China stuff was funny.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, like, does it really matter that they have that many players on Steam if they're all in China?
yeah, if they're all just Chinese, yeah, dude, those takes were fucking wild. But like, no, there's enough weird stuff on both. I'm not doing a both sidesism, but like it's literally
No,
like
we're doing it. We're
I don't
standing on the
I don't
fence and
speak
pointing at both
Chinese,
sides
so
and saying you're shit.
I say I don't speak Chinese, so I can't like read the tweets and stuff in question. I don't know about
Ni
that,
hao,
and
Wang Chi Lai Ba.
No,
yeah,
it's
I know
always
one
hard.
word in Mandarin, and it's not one that I want to say on the pod.
It's always hard to just
I know
evaluate
how to say thank you, and that's it.
One of
any
my toxic DPS characters in Overwatch was Chinese, so I remember some of the voice lines. I have no idea what they mean.
Yeah, no, but like it's always hard in this country to I think fully read any reporting on China, and like you can't take any of it fully at face value here, more or less. It's really hard to find sources that
It's
are
propaganda in one way or the other.
right. Exactly. Exactly.
I
That's
tend
one
to
of
be
my
more
favorite. There
I'm-
there are two subs on Reddit, that are one is the counter jerk and one is the circle jerk, and I love just watching both of them because it'll just be it's pure comedy on both sides.
See,
Again, standing on the fence.
I tend to be more critical of the Western propaganda because I understand it. I can actually read it and engage with it. Like I know where that comes from. So, I tend to be more critical of that. That's where I generally.
Yeah, but we're both getting well versed in Japanese propaganda.
You will never speak to me against the glory of the Japanese Empire. Okay, we did our little transition and then got away from it. But yeah, so from AI articles to AI in voice acting and motion capture and all that. Andrew, you posted this one.
Yeah, this one was
This one made me so mad when it
Oh
came
my
out.
god! Oh my god, dude!
This
You know who-
guy,
You know who else it made mad? Fucking Kratos.
hell yeah, yeah. Kratos subtweeted him.
Christopher Judge going off. We love it.
He ratioed him too. I'm pretty
Oh
sure.
yeah, he owned his ass.
Was the big news of the day.
He owned his ass.
He L plus ratioed him. He phantom taxed him.
But yeah, but so Amazon Games CEO Christoph Hartmann decided to make his job much harder for himself over the next couple of years, and said that games don't really have acting and AI can really help with that. And amid no less a game actor strike against the use of AI. And we can
There was an
Strike's
old
trying to
set of
break up the
college humor
family.
videos. It was like Kanye's publicist or something like that, or Kanye's PR agent reacting to Kanye doing crazy shit.
Isn't that Milo?
It's like, imagine being this dude's PR
He
agent.
is now. It is now.
Imagine waking up as this dude's like PR agent and like being like, "What did you say? You said what? During what?"
Yeah.
To who?
Yeah.
Why?
Welcome to the life of like a lawyer.
No, exactly. Like
Clients
their
always say that to
entire
me.
legal team saw this and like literally started tying nooses because
Yeah.
what the fuck? What a just a
You're the lawyer sitting there, and it's
thing.
like, yeah, man, I didn't do it. Then why did you tell the police in a signed statement you did?
100 you that literally happens. Literally, I have a client that happens. And also clients that just love talking when they have a right to remain silent. People love they think that
People
they
are
can get out of
chatty.
things.
People are chatty.
People are,
Yeah.
yeah, they are chatty.
People
and
be
They
chatty.
think that they're being friendly and that they're gonna make it a more amicable experience, but
or that
really they
they-
just threw cousin Vinny under the bus, and cousin Vinny's getting raided right now.
Yeah. That or they think that they have enough like riz and charisma and like they could talk their way out of things and make it better. And they never can. No one can.
My only goal, if I'm ever in a situation
Trump.
like that, is I'm so capable of speaking utter nonsense and garbage in just complete circles that I just make them think I'm a crazy person, just have them kick me out and hope that I'm
So it also just not only is his statement that we don't have acting in video games just an asinine thing to say for someone who is running a video game business, like then his AI ideas are also garbage. They want to use AI for localization. Do you know how fucked that will do? What that'll do? Like you can't do
my
localization
God.
with
Oh my
AI.
God.
That's not how language works.
And dude, localization
spent-
is already one of the like hardest
Yeah.
and most nuanced
Yeah.
jobs out there, and
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
completely undersung. Like because
Yep.
a game's success,
a game's
you know,
localization is a very important
oh my God, and that shit's
way
really
of selling
hard.
the game.
And that's really hard. It's really hard to do, and human people struggle with that.
Yeah.
Just
Yes.
translating things
And
in
like human
general.
people
Right, 'cause-
have the ability to infer and understand context in a statement that
Yeah.
a machine learning
Yeah.
will never.
Think
Right.
of this. In Italian, there's 3 words that are piano that mean different things. Like piano is the word in Italian. It means like floor. It means piano. It means like 10 other things.
There's a shit ton of those in all of the romantic
in all
languages.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Well, and it just exposes him for being a dumbass idiot who like thinks things like, oh, language can just be literally translated from one to another and it doesn't matter. Or video
take it from
games don't
someone-
have acting. Like
Yeah.
what the
Take it-
fuck?
Well, hey, in his
Take it
his
from
defense,
someone who
his,
spent
his
a week-
games may not have acting.
Yeah, okay,
I haven't
true.
played any of them, so I can't
To be
say.
fair, you're right. You're not wrong. I don't know that, so maybe my anger is misplaced.
I spent a week translating a Chinese operation manual using Google Translate pictures.
Oh, God.
Except I
And
will immediately.
the first 3 days were just taking pictures and compiling them in order of the translation, and then the next 5 days were spent sitting down and reading it and going, okay, that's not what that means. It actually means
Well,
this.
so here's the
like-
thing. What they've done recently are basically all MMOs, and then the one that they did that was like they
New
themselves
World.
was New
Oh,
World.
that's right.
Which
I forgot
probably,
about
again,
that.
Probably doesn't
Yeah.
have any.
New
of
the
them.
World.
one that nuked
The other-
computers.
The other
Yep.
2 big ones are Lost Ark and Blue Protocol, which were Korean and is Blue Protocol.
Isn't Blue Protocol the one that
is
just
it
got
Ja-
shut down and isn't having an international release?
Is it Japanese? But like, so basically,
Yeah.
it was Korean and Japanese. Blue Protocol was like an anime one. So those 2 definitely had acting.
Yeah, Blue
but they just
Protocol was
published-
Japanese.
They just
hadn't
published
launched
those in
globally
the West.
and
They
just
didn't
got shut
make them.
down.
They didn't make those. It got shut. Why did it get shut down?
They're
New-
not doing a global release anymore. It doesn't have a very good attach rate.
But New World, even New World, maybe it didn't have like physical acting, mocap shit, but it had voice acting.
Right. No, I'm joking.
No, I know, but even still, even trying to give your joke some credence, it's like this
Yeah.
guy is such a fucking shithead.
Blue Protocol will be discontinued on January 18th, 2025 in Japan and will no longer release worldwide.
Damn, son. Yeah, you
So,
put on
yeah.
that Wikipedia page of Amazon games, like their actual games, that there is no even hyperlink anymore for Blue Protocol. It's just listed. But yeah, dude, fuck this guy. And
Fuck
yeah,
this guy. Fuck this
Well,
guy. How could you step in it anymore? Like for no reason too. This isn't even like you're not
This is a dude
maybe-
who's just been huffing the tech world's farts.
Dude, yeah, like I
Where
don't
they're
even
like,
know.
AI
Like it's
will do everything for you. You will have entire companies run by AI doing AI tasks.
like Amazon Games. He could say whatever he wants, and it's not going to affect Amazon stock price. So why piss off like everyone you work with? Like not only are you pissing off
Well, because
your
he doesn't actually
consumers, but the
work with
people
them.
you have to work with.
Do you think he sits in the regular person cafeteria?
No, true.
Yeah, dude, these
He
guys
gets
are
he gets
these guys.
fed from the blood boys.
Yes, he's got the blood bag. So these guys are, fine with AI because, they want to eliminate all human interaction and communication.
Yeah.
It's like literally sociopath shit, right? They
Yeah,
cannot
dude.
comprehend human emotion, so they're like, "Yeah, I don't need that shit. Give me the robot voice."
It's
The
like,
robot, the robot is
oh,
already jorking it for me, so like, why not? Why not just have them speak to me as well?
it's such a red pill male thing too. Like all those dudes who do essentially the Jordan Peterson make your bed shit, but like essentially their entire day is them solitarily doing chores around their own house, being like miserable, like never smiling. And it's like, I don't know, man. That doesn't seem great.
Hey, okay, I'm partially in this picture and I don't fucking like it, so you're gonna need
No,
to really calm down for a second.
No, you see people. You talk to people.
You
have
take my
roommates.
Saturday weekend. You take my Saturday weekend routine. I remember like joking about that to a manager once where he's like, "Oh, what are you doing this weekend?" I was like, "Doing chores so that I can come back to work and enjoy myself again," in a very monotonous. He was like, "Is that really how you feel?" I was like, "Nah, dude, I'm fucking with you. Get out of here."
Get out of my office, man.
But yeah, so yeah, Amazon Game CEO Hartman, he sucks.
Did he
Christoph
walk that?
Hartman.
Did he walk that back at all? Did he do a?
I haven't
I'm
seen
so-
anything about him walking it
I'm
back, and
sorry.
I assume they're the type of people who they're so insulated from everything he hasn't even seen the controversy.
He's
Maybe.
just too tied into doing more innovating.
Yeah,
I need more innovations here.
he's innovating really hard. No, I don't see any sort of like news article saying
No, I guarantee you he has no idea that anyone has had like a negative reaction to it, because the people around him are like, "Oh yes, indeed. I mean, artists, are we serious
Yeah.
right now? They sit and they talk into a microphone. I do that all
Paying
day."
them for that.
Dude, that shit is
Oh,
so good.
pish
It's like we don't have
posh.
art. We don't have artists here. We just have people doing the beat boop on the computer.
My grandson was showing me this footage of a man who makes AI songs, and it sounds pretty good. So
Yeah.
Dude, I have been enjoying the AI videos of the cartoon characters doing like white girl music. Very funny.
the
Like
AI
fucking
country
Plankton
song about
singing
Dr.
Chapel Run
Pepper
is-
lives eternally
Dude,
in
that
my
one's
head.
good. That one's good. I like the one about the guy getting his nuts closed in the sliding door. That one was fun.
That's beautiful.
That one was fun. But yeah, the Dr. Pepper one was really good. The only doctor I listen to. All right, folks. I'm going to go try and recover so I can actually do things that I want to do. But this has been fun. Let's see here. Till next week, where Andrew will be leading us through Cyberpunk for our September
yeah,
game
be
of
fun.
game of the
Cyberpunk.
month.
I
Till
feel
then, you
like
can-
I'm entering the heist now because I'm coming up against a time crunch of how much shit I need to finish before I feel good about it.
Oh, you'll
You'll
do
get
fine.
more than close enough.
I think you'll get pretty far. At least
It's
pretty
why I
far
was
into-
knocking out so many Mr. Hands gigs last night. I was like, I need to finish Mr. Hands so I don't have to worry about him anymore.
He is part of like the progression. I will say, Mr. Hands is an important part of the progression. He does have some side things as like a regular fixer, but
Yeah,
he
he's
is
got
like,
he's got 10 and I've done 8 of them.
he is like a story. He is a story progression piece. But yeah, so we will talk more about that next week. I'm excited, very excited. Let's talk about that.
We'll talk
and
about how
hopefully-
cool and important the romance is in this game.
Yeah, till then you can support us by following us at twitch.tv/campaign comrades. Well, maybe by the time this comes out, you'll be able to catch Matt streaming a little bit of Cyberpunk next week before we record. So be on the lookout for that. But yeah, that'll do it for us today and for wrapping up for the month of August. September is going to be crazy for game releases. There is so much coming down the pike that I am very excited for.
Astrobot Game of the Year.
I'm like, even though like I personally don't know how much I'm gonna engage with like the multiplayer aspects of Space Marine 2, I really hope that it works so it just like the game is successful. Because like if
I hope we get some fun
busts
dual
on launch,
marketing
that's
like
not
we
good.
did when Doom Eternal and Animal Crossing launched in the same weekend. And,
So
we
who-
get Astrobot chilling with Space Marines.
Mm.
like Astrobot just taking a
Pain
fucking
Sword.
a plasma pistol and shooting some Tyranids. That would be pretty sweet. All right, folks. But that'll be it for this episode. We will see you next week.